Hello, welcome back to the podcast post week 6, pre week 7. A lot of things happened this week. Obviously, the current podcast, we're recording this directly after game 3 of the ALDS. Obviously, the Tigers beat the Guardians 3-0.
Obviously.
What do you mean, obviously?
Did you
Obviously.
Did you
People
know
are going to be watching this after the game.
The Tigers already won the LDS. Did you know that?
No.
By the time this comes out,
could have been full.
The next game's tomorrow, right?
Could have been full by the way you guys talk. So
I don't know. We'll see. I think it's and probably be over by the time we publish this time tomorrow. So, but yeah, I don't know. You want to start with your game? I guess we can go chronologically, Zach.
Yeah. I don't know. I was at a camp out. I was hammered.
Hold on. You're telling me Michigan State played a top 10 team on the road in prime time?
We covered the spread.
You guys had a basketball event?
Yeah.
Couldn't be my school.
I don't know. Yeah, couldn't be me.
School.
Also, parading a guy that didn't go to the school wearing all Michigan State gear this weekend. It's a tough look, but hey, keep going.
No, that was weird. I don't understand, but it's
I'm fully out on Devin Booker, but we'll get to that later.
Keep going. I mean, Oregon dominated. We did the same thing we did against Ohio State the first drive. We turned the ball over, and then they turned the ball over, and I'm like, all right, maybe we'll have a chance in this. And then, it just went downhill from there. They ran the ball as efficiently as you possibly can. Jordan James had one of the best rushing games I've seen all of the year. I mean, we only turned it over once, thankfully. No interceptions. Not a ton of plays that were interception worthy throughout the game, but I mean, they just pieced us apart for the entire game. Not much else to it. We did cover the spread, so screw you guys that bet against us, because I heard a lot of complaining after the game. But hey, we take our field goals with 25 seconds left in the game, down 24 points. So I mean, it was kind of a blow up. I mean, I was out. I watched most of the first half. I pretty much watched the whole game, and then I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. So I just started drinking, and didn't sleep all night. And then got sick, so that's where we're at now.
Oregon is one of the worst teams in the country rushing the ball, and they ran for 230 yards and 6 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit alarming. But, I mean, when you look at the game in a nutshell, you know, if you told me before the game Charles would only have 1 turnover, I think it'd be a ball game. But unfortunately, it was a backbreaking turnover on the inch line. It would have totally changed the game. It would have been 7.
But now we can look at it like this. And everybody compares, schedules. Everybody has these weird schedules now. We got through the toughest, realistically, the toughest part of our schedule, because we literally had Ohio State, who is now the 2nd overall team, a short week, and then we played on Friday night against Oregon, who's now the number 3 team. So getting past that, I mean, there's a lot of things where there's some potential where we can look ahead and see a couple of games that are more interesting, and we should have a better chance of playing.
As I like to call him, Chili's, or as his new nickname is, Skyline. He just kind of had a few bad throws, didn't look great, didn't look comfortable in the pocket. But
no.
Yeah, I mean, it is also very bold to say you're done with the, toughest part of your schedule, and you've got Iowa at Michigan, Indiana at Illinois.
Yeah, that's our entire rest of our schedule. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean,
you're already out of the gauntlet, and you got your rival who's needs a win bad, and you're playing Iowa, that defense with that run game.
Yeah, I mean, the toughest 2 games of the schedule, I would say, because it's just the by far best 2 teams in the conference so far.
At least you have Purdue to look forward to.
Yeah,
and that's at home. So
other than that, it sucks being down 3 offensive linemen for the season too. You can just tell that a quarterback is not going to be very comfortable for sure.
There might be a little bit of a quarterback controversy, man. I'm not an analytics guy, but Tommy Schuster's at a higher QBR in 3 games this year. I don't know.
All right. Anyways, next game.
Listen. If Schuster hits that open tight end in the end zone and covers the over, I'm not even mad. But that ruined my weekend before it started.
All right. On to Ohio State.
Ooh, okay. So first half was a little shaky. There was some turnovers in the first half, obviously. Iowa, once again, doesn't have an offense. McNamara looked awful. But
oh my God, that fourth down. Can we talk about that fourth down that they did?
Yes.
They run them like in Iowa is so Iowa where you could easily just QB sneak it. It was maybe an inch away.
Yep.
They instead go for the most obvious fake punt of all time. Ohio State's not even covering the most obvious fake punt of all time. Dude gets like 6 yards, but the idiot coach calls a timeout. But it looks like from the play was off before the timeout. But regardless, just sneak it, you idiot.
It was
my
close.
God.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
It was. So, I mean, Iowa definitely had their chances. Obviously, they had a chance to cut this game to a 7-3 Ohio State lead, and their kicker shanked it. So there was also that. I mean, anything that I'm going to tell you what, the first half was so quick. It was like there was a lot of running, there was a lot of punting, and then there was also Jeremiah Smith fumble, which, look, I'm not worried about it. Will Howard interception. Look, things like that are going to happen because I think Will Howard is like, okay, I can take chances because my defense, I can rely on them and trust them. I mean, technically speaking, Caleb Johnson, 15 carries, 86 yards. Now, if I was Iowa's coach, he would have ran the ball 25 times.
Yeah, he didn't run the ball. They
you
kept trying to throw the ball.
You take out his last 2 carries, which is like a 28-yard touchdown and like a 10-yard run.
Exactly.
He was doing nothing.
He's at like 50. I mean,
at halftime it was like 8 carries for 15 yards.
Yes, I remember looking up at halftime and I'm like, wait, I think he had 17 yards total at halftime. I think that was it. And I remember going, wow, we are really shutting him down. He got a lot of his yardage late, which was, I mean, that's the thing. Right now, Ohio State on defense, you can look at every level and they're excelling. I mean, Caleb Downs is awesome. The linebackers are awesome. Denzel Burke, Igbinosis. I mean, everyone's excelling at some different level. And then second half, come out and we're up 7-0. And then boom, it's like a bomb goes off.
Yeah.
This is like the last 3 weeks in a row. Marshall, Michigan State, now Iowa. And once again, I mean,
just one quarter. It's a 1 quarter thing.
Yeah. And then you had a 3rd and 6. And Will Howard found Jeremiah Smith down to the 3-yard line when Iowa thought they had us stopped. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you have these big plays and they're not going for like big yardage touchdowns or things like that. But then you have the throw by Will Howard to Jeremiah Smith where Jeremiah Smith just made his defensive back once again look stupid. I mean,
he pushed off, but it's all right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, we'll go with that.
It was probably 2 or 3 personal fouls on the Iowa D-back. He had both arms wrapped around his other arm, and he just stood there. Was like, all right, whatever, idiot.
Yeah,
I looked at him like, you fucking idiot.
And here's the thing with Will Howard is he now can trust Jeremiah Smith, and I know he trusts Mbuka. Like Mbuka had an awesome, outstanding football game. But the one thing is like he knows to put the ball where you can just go grab it with one hand, or he's putting the ball in a perfect location. And I've seen the growth now where he's just putting it like, it's not going to get picked. It's either going to be a touchdown or a nice catch or incomplete pass. But he does force it sometimes, but I also feel like he can go ahead and force some things. We have a great defense. And we'll obviously talk about this week coming up.
It does seem slightly concerning though, that like they start, I mean, some of these games are starting pretty slow. I mean, especially with this week coming up, which we'll get into more later. But I mean, starting a little bit slow in some of these games, it might be a little concerning if they can't catch a groove right off the bat. But
yeah. I mean,
know.
He was 21 of 25, so I'm not really worried about Will Howard there. It's more or less, I mean, the key. We'll get into it later, but like basically the key to this game is Ohio State's offensive line against that Oregon front.
Yeah.
That's what this game comes down to, because I trust our defense. I trust our defense not to give up that many yards. Actually, look, Dylan Gabriel, he seems awesome in some big moments. There's a reason he transferred from Oklahoma. I mean, 2 red zone picks.
I was about to say multiple red zone turnovers for this 4th straight game.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
catch up on that in a second. But yeah, no, let's just roll through the other games, and then Blake can talk about what happened on Saturday night. So Minnesota upsets USC in a controversial finish to some on a goal line that some people said, well, the ball is gone. You can't find the ball. Who knows if he scored a touchdown? Did he not? And I was like, it's a touchdown. There's no way half of his body gets in the end zone and he doesn't have the ball unless he's holding it between his legs.
Yeah, it's very funny that Cozzi and I were in a space for a long time yesterday with a man from USC that went from we're winning this conference 3 weeks ago to
now
Lincoln Riley. He's never been good. So if you want to know how USC is doing right now, he literally goes, hold on, I have a notes app of all the coaches I want. It was certainly something.
Indiana beats Northwestern 41-24. Cozzi said,
listen. Indiana was letting them move the ball at will. All right. Indiana's bubble is going to pop soon. And unfortunately for Ohio State, it's going to be Michigan. That pops it. So,
yeah.
Hopefully they're ranked high enough where when we kill them, they're still ranked for your purposes.
Hey, just remember, they're going to beat one of us, and they're definitely going to the playoffs at 11-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next game, I'm pretty sure Cozzi said this team had a chance, but they had zero chance. 52-6, Purdue loses to Wisconsin.
Okay, I'm pretty wait. If we want to rewind, hold on. If we want to rewind to last week, I'm pretty sure Blake also said that Wisconsin was going to possibly go to Purdue or play Purdue and lose.
No. I said Purdue was going to cover against Nebraska, and they covered for 50 minutes.
I don't know. I just don't trust Wisconsin at all.
No,
now I really don't trust Purdue.
Wisconsin's not good, and the fact that they put up 50 with a backup quarterback and backup running back is
Purdue might not win a single conference game, unfortunately.
I mean, well, they got Northwestern. That's a possibility.
Yeah, that's gonna be
it would just be
a real shame, Cozzi.
It would be a real shame if Michigan State lost to Purdue.
Because you mean, Purdue's actually got a decent running attack with Maccabee. Interesting.
They put up 6 points against Wisconsin.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. The wheels really fell off that Notre Dame game. That's where everything went downhill. But if you're
I almost want to look at the numbers. I mean, the last 3 games, I think they've been outscored probably close to 150 to like 10, 20.
Yeah.
I mean, they scored what, like 6-0 and 6?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. 2 more games to touch on real quick. Rutgers, Nebraska, 14-7. Nebraska beats Rutgers in an absolute just snoozer.
Both teams lost.
Yeah, both teams lost.
This is the battle of they thought that they were good bowl. Everyone's come back down to earth. There's a cute little week period of, oh my God, Indiana and Rutgers, and what if they play each other in the Big Ten championship game? Get serious.
Yeah. And then the last game of the week that we can touch on, Penn State, with a kind of a rough, ugly win against UCLA, 27-11.
Dude, I hate that UCLA kicked a field goal because I don't know if someone saw this or scored a touchdown. There was a stat they had that they would have covered their last 3 conference games without scoring a touchdown. It was an incredible stat, and I would be like, that would be incredible.
I'm pretty sure didn't they score defensively too?
In the Oregon game, that was the thing.
Yes.
Yeah. They don't love playing offense.
Dude.
They
are maybe the worst top 5 team I've ever seen in my entire life. The fact that they are top 5 is such a joke, and they're a 3-point favorite against USC. That tells you how bad they are. Because if USC, we'll talk about it in a minute because I am very torn on that game. If USC wins, I swear to God, Franklin, man.
But before we move on, I just want to say if Ohio State were to win this week and Georgia were to beat Texas, it could actually be 1-2 Ohio State versus Penn State in Happy Valley. And that's the reaction that I wanted. That is the exact reaction that I wanted.
Though, I understand where you're coming from, but they'll jump Georgia up there. But
I don't
actually
think
a good point was if Michigan had a competent football program and beat Texas, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4 Big Ten right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, if USC beat Michigan
by the way, with a bunch of teams that I don't think are that good.
Yeah.
USC lost to Minnesota too, but yeah.
But like before that, they could have been
proud.
right there.
So, are we going to talk about what happened in Seattle?
Yeah, so we're gonna move on to Seattle. Seattle was an interesting night, eh?
Yeah. So, a lot of things happened. I mean, I have so many things, so many different positions. I don't know what's going on. So we started off by having our 6'3" athletic quarterback get multiple passes batted down in the first two drives. The first time, I'm getting the exact number here because I want to know what it is. So again, they walked down the field, first play of the game was a 36-yard completion. It was like the longest play we've given up on the season. Then a 10-yard run, 1-yard run, 4-yard run. And then their kicker missed it first of like 7 field goals. So he missed a field goal. He had a crazy streak going. And then Michigan does this thing, right? Mullings, run for 7. Orgy, pass, complete. Well, hold on a minute. To Loveland, 6 yards. Mullings, run, 4 yards. Timeout, Michigan. Pass, complete to a receiver for 8 yards. That is our second longest completion to a receiver this season is 8 yards. 3rd and 3 at the 44. Orgy keeps it. Awesome. First down. Orgy passes the ball. It's completed again. 1 yard, but whatever. And then it's 2nd down. Okay. Orgy incomplete pass. That sucks. Then they jump off sides. It's 3rd and 4 on the Washington 45. And you have Orgy drop back for a pass.
Hold
on the plus side of the field. At this point in the game, you're averaging 9 yards a carry.
And then they did the Iowa. Then they did the Iowa.
Run it up the middle twice.
Okay, well, hold on. So that was one of the worst passes I've seen from Orgy, by the way. I just
people literally said in our group chat that it was on Loveland. I'm like,
no,
it didn't even hit him in the foot. It didn't even hit him in the foot.
Yeah,
it hit the dirt.
I mean, it was like a short hop. He was like a third baseman out there, just short hopping something. So you don't run the ball twice. Okay, cool. Then they just walk down the field and score. I believe, right here. 3rd and 8 at the Michigan 32-yard line. Okay?
Yep.
3rd and 8. They don't have a kicker. So they either got to go for it or they got to kick it, right? Okay. Jair Sugar Hill is playing maybe 15, 20 yards off the line.
I'm so confused, first off.
And he just runs a quick little slant and scores. I've been asking for that play every time I see an idiot corner playing that far off. Listen, I play corner in a beer league, flag football league, okay? I would not be caught dead like that. They were looking like me out there. Mind you, they were slipping all night. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
And they walk down the field, they score, whatever. There's a stat we'll go at the end of the game. I believe it was Jair Hill was giving up 7 completions on 9 targets for 150 yards.
Yeah.
And I think it was Zeke Berry gave up 101 yards after the catch. That's one guy. That's how impressive that is it's a whole thing. Then you do the Michigan 3 plays, punt, and then they punt, then we punt, then 3 plays, punt, then they go a 4-play touchdown, right? Freaking pass to 16 yards, run for 5, pass for 38 yards, pass to Giles Jackson, Michigan's
shout out to Giles Jackson. What a game for him. What a game for him. He is unbelievable now.
And then what happens? There's a players only meeting on the field. Donovan Edwards and Jack Tuttle get the boys fired up. And Jack Tuttle rises from the dead. The man that we found out after the game, Sharon, our head coach, said he was been able to be practicing for multiple weeks. And then Tuttle today, this morning, says, this is my first week of practice. So once again, my coach is a pathological liar because Miles Hinton and others were ready to play and go back in if needed. Coach, it was a 3-point game. And they didn't go in. So they didn't play this game. Because, listen, we were down like 3 offensive lineman starters, but who cares? Next man up. Your offensive coach, smash. But what happens when Tuttle comes in? 7 plays, 75-yard touchdown drive.
Yep.
I've never felt more vindicated amongst the absolute morons that call themselves Michigan fans, where their Twitter account was founded in 2023. Okay? That part right there drove me up a wall. And I was like, look, all year, and all these Ohio State fans in the group chat and the Ivy League and all these other nonsense group chats that just ruin my life. All I said was we're going to start the 28-year-old. Okay? It is what it is. Jack Tuttle, he sucks, but guess what? He's the best option we have. He was so good, he made Donovan Edwards look good at football. Okay? Donovan Edwards broke a 38-yard touchdown run, just like it was, giving PTSD to those dickhead Washington fans. Okay. Then they go 3 plays punt. Tuttle walks on the field, scores again. So 2 Tuttle drives, 2 scores. You're now down 14-10 after spotting them a quarter and a half of the worst football I've ever seen. What does Tuttle do out of the break? Walks down there, 11 plays, 75-yard touchdown drive. So that was the first time Michigan has scored on 3 consecutive drives this season. Okay, big deals. And it was Tuttle. Tuttle was 3 for 3, 3 drives, 3 scores, walking people down with a passing touchdown. Can you believe that? Then we go down, they punt, we punt. Then they kick a field goal, tie game. Mind you, that field goal was ridiculous. We do a 3-play punt. It was tough seeing to Tuttle at a bad throw. And then it's like, man, we really need some sort of play here. We pick off Will Rogers for the first time this season.
Honestly,
right?
It was a great interception. It was a terrible pass. It was a great interception.
Unbelievable interception. And then Tuttle, run. And then they have a graphic on the screen. Okay. Graphic on the screen.
The graphic on the screen's always good.
It says Michigan, 6.5 yards per carry. Mind you, there's a tie game in the 4th quarter with 8 minutes and 56 seconds left. We threw it, we run it, and fumble. With our quarterback running it, which was a called pass, by the way. He dropped back, and then ran.
And he said, I'm going.
You called 3 passes, averaging 6.5 yards a carry with 8 minutes left in the game. Right. Then they go down.
The very next play, though.
27-yard play. I'll tell you, what it felt like? Am I allowed to say this without triggering anyone? It felt like when we got screwed on JT was short, the next play was a Curtis Samuel give-up touchdown. It just felt the exact same. Obviously, he didn't score, but didn't matter. It probably should have scored. It would have saved some time, but obviously didn't mattering. And then what happens? Once again, you're down 7.
Over the line.
Now you run with Donovan Edwards up the gut twice. Granted, it was 5 yards and 3 yards up the gut. Interesting concept. You run again, which is, again, very funny. 4th down, you run again. And then a ref show. I don't know what the hell happened in this ref show.
Yeah, that was so weird. It was like a false start, and then they
called it a first down. Then they said it wasn't. Then they measured it. Then they pulled it back. Then they called it a false start. Then it wasn't a false start. Then they recentered the ball. Then he snapped it after a false start, and then he got the first down again.
So basically what I saw is, there's the line, across the field, and then there's the hash. Well, the middle hash. Well, the ball was set like right on the outside of it, and he moved the ball literally onto the line to gain. Like
every center does that.
You can't do that when
I know. We don't call it. Every center does it. You pick up the ball and they
He basically was just like, "Yep, we're going to
move it forward." Who cares if he moves it forward? Nothing matters. Nothing changes. The receiver aren't going to step up and inch forward, or whatever. So that whole thing happens, and then Tuttle throws an interception. Bad pick.
He threw it.
It was an unbelievable play by the defensive back. People were trying to blame on Tuttle.
That might have been one of the better picks we see this year.
It was right to the spot you wanted. I mean, he was a little bit behind him. I mean, granted, Tuttle's 28 years old, elbow arthritis. He's in.
Who knows how many weeks he's
in like an assisted living. He's getting Social Security. All right, take it easy. But he gets picked off, and then they walk down,
and everybody has their heart is racing.
3rd and 8. From the 39-yard line, they have no kicker. Again, they have no kicker. They throw, by the way, Jed Fish, terrorist. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left here. You can run it here and take a 2-minute warning and then kick a field goal. Who cares? Or go for it again. You throw a 50-50 ball to Will Johnson.
To Boston.
No. It was to Will Johnson. And then what happens is Will Johnson decides to be a terrorist and pass interference, face mask, and holding. 3 penalties.
It was obvious.
Impressive.
You could see that his face, he went like this. The guy's running downfield, and Will doesn't even look. He just grabs his face mask and goes, whoop, and his head sideways. And I'm like, yep, there's the game right there.
Trying to do that because the ball was almost uncatchable. It was, it was tough.
He was just trying to make sure he couldn't see it.
Exactly. It was tough where I ended up looking. But you live for that. If you're Michigan, I said this earlier, if you were like calling the opposing team's plays, you're like, oh, we're going to dial up a pass here. It's like he grabbed his controller in NCAA. It's like, hey, throw a 50-50 ball to our 99 rated corner. Let's see what happens. But we're at the point where the coaching is so bad that happens. That all the players have regressed on our defense. Everyone's regressed. Our transfer guys have regressed. I mean, everything's going bad. And then the last thing because who cares? Whatever. They end up kicking a field goal and the game ends. Who cares? The turf in the first half was an ice skating rink, all right? And we were slipping, they were not slipping. That means fix your cleats. Donovan Edwards has a wide open touchdown, walk-in touchdown.
The safety slipped too.
Exactly.
He slipped in the backfield.
And they don't fix the cleats. I know the old equipment manager. He's lucky he's not employed at Michigan still, right on his ass. But yeah. Pause. And then, I mean, I don't know the thing I can think of after the game. I don't know. One of our coaches went over there and was yelling at their fans. But if you look at the video, it was very funny because everyone around him, Washington fans, were like, dude, shut up. So obviously something was cut, but whatever. They're doing an internal investigation. Knowing Michigan, they're going to fire an elite staffer because he, yelled at some drunk idiot Washington kids, probably yelling at his players. Whatever. But, it is what it is. Beating such a important reigning national champion, defending brand, America's team, making shirts commemorating a win in which you were favored after rushing the field and saying revenge for the national championship game is certainly a behavior of what one would call a little brother program. That's not me. That's someone else. And guess what? My little brother has never done anything like that. Okay. That's like, I don't even think last time Sparty's even rushed the field against Michigan. I don't think they have.
I don't think we've ever rushed the field.
You can't rush the field as well as the stadium.
Like 12 feet.
Valid point.
You're gonna die if you rush the field.
I don't know. I mean, if you didn't rush the field after that Kenneth Walker game, then legally you probably can't. So
I mean, you guys rushed the field against us last year and we're favored.
So I mean, honestly, we're on a bye.
They do it every year. We need to pause this real quick. Yes. I think they need to stop doing this rushing the field when top 5 teams play because it's kind of a joke.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. It's kind of a joke. Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. It's
I don't care. Michigan rushed the field when we were favored against Ohio State. I don't care.
Here's the thing. It's a tradition on senior day at Ohio State. You rush the field. That's always been a tradition. So normally it's against Michigan. It's been against Penn State sometimes. It's been against Sparty, and everybody rushed the field.
That's fair.
The 56-0 game against Sparty, everybody rushed the field after. And
why? Just go back in the stands, okay?
No, because everybody's saying Carmen on the field. It's just a tradition.
Yeah. And just Michigan's on a bye week now. Just to wrap it up, I think it's one of our toughest opponents of the year. Having our coaches think amongst themselves for a week is one of the more dangerous things we've seen in a long time. But I will say, I think Michigan is a completely different team. I think we can win every game on our schedule outside of Ohio State. Not comfortably, but I think I'm expecting 9-3. Tuttle, the level of play that he brought to that team by having an average pass game opens up everything. Someone took a screenshot of when Orji was in versus when he was in, that they had 9 men in the box and then they had 6 men in the box because, Tuttle can throw a football. It's just, I almost said when he came in, I go, if Tuttle does what he should do, it's almost even more damning on the coaching staff because a few things. One, obviously you lied about if he was ready or not. 2, why is he coming in down 14? Why is he not starting the football game? Like we heard, if an idiot like me heard that Tuttle was probably starting or was ready to start in the middle of the week and started tweeting about it and being funny about it, you'd like to think that our staff would know what the fuck is going on. So, listen, you don't call for a new head coach's job 6 games into his first year. Yeah. Next question.
All right. Let's move on to the most chaotic. Everybody thought this week would suck.
2007 is back, baby.
Honestly,
last year, dude, where I forgot which weekend it was. No. I just feel like there was a bad week on. Everyone's like, "Oh, this week sucks," and then everyone lost.
This is insanity, though.
So SMU, first off, beats Louisville.
Okay. That game rocked.
We'll start there. That game was awesome. That game was sick. The academies continue to roll. Both Navy and Army continue to roll.
I have to say this because we were betting on Navy heavy. Our boy Luke, shout out Luke, had Navy as the favorite. Navy was 4th and 2. They run an option play to the short side of the field, and then the guy just pitches it to a reverse. One of the most electric plays I've seen in a long time. That man cribbed that thing.
Yeah, Bryson
Daly. We'll stop it right here because I have to do the screenshots. I have the screenshots now. Army and Navy have a better passing game than Michigan currently, pass offense. But it'll definitely change now that Tuttle can actually throw. We don't have 2 retards back there. But hey, listen, we'll keep going.
Yeah, Blake Horvath versus Bryson Daly might be electric when that time comes.
It might.
Why not
happen
getting any
twice.
Heisman votes?
It might happen twice.
Yeah, it might.
Like, there's guys
There's serious debate that it
You
happens.
can't tell me that why is Carson Beck getting more Heisman votes than either one of these quarterbacks? Like the Blake kid especially. Dude's electric.
Speaking of Heisman, we have a new favorite to win the Heisman. Yeah, I mean, 186 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. Boise State put up 45, I think, in the first half. They won 62-30. I mean,
not even the best stat of that game. Did you see the passing line for Utah State?
It was very low.
No. You need to look at the passing.
Spencer Petras threw for 372 yards.
Yes.
Bingo. So Boise might suck.
They might not have a defense.
Iowa quarterbacks aired it out.
I'm pretty sure they just gave up after the first half.
Oh, come on.
No. You can't do that.
Dude, it was like 42-17.
He had more completions the other team than his own team in a few games.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They had 17 at the half. They only scored 13 in the second half. He had a decent amount of yards in the first half.
He was airing that thing out.
Oh, the other game from Friday, we'll touch on this too because I forgot to mention this.
What
Syracuse upsets
Whatever.
Kyle McCord, insane game. Shocker.
Even better was the number one, that running back had 2 of the best plays I've seen in a very long time. That 4th down conversion, he just shakes off a guy on the backfield. And then on the touchdown run, he just drags that linebacker. It's literally like a piggyback riding him. And he just drags him to the end zone. It was, all-time game, man. Because it was
all right.
Went from the brutal beat if you had Oregon straight to the end of that game. Woo-wee.
We got number 9. We got number 10, loss. Now we'll move on to number 9. From last week, Missouri taking on Texas A&M. Texas A&M absolutely destroys Missouri 41.
Hold on.
Before the game stuff?
Yes.
I didn't even see the before the game stuff, but
so one of the corners on Texas A&M sends a Texas A&M blanket to one of the guys on Mizzou and says, "Get ready for the game. I'm about to blanket you the whole time." The Mizzou guy wears the Texas A&M blanket onto the field talking shit. He had 0 catches, 0 targets. And targets. He had 0 catches until the end of the game. When they started fighting.
Let's put it this way. Kept seeing the score. Obviously, there was something else on the TV going on. But Mizzou got put on the hub.
Yeah.
I mean,
bad, dude. A&M is fully back. I hate the SEC team gets exposed and blown out. A&M is a really good football team.
And it's weird because everybody
was hurt the whole time, and now he's back. They
are
airing that thing out.
Yeah, they were supposed to play the backup, and then Connor Wigman walks out there, and nobody had a clue that he was going to play.
I wish my team did that.
Yeah, and he went nuts.
Started the experienced veteran passer instead of the idiot backup running back.
Next game, the nightcap. I fell asleep. I did not watch the rest of the game. I fell asleep in the fourth quarter. Miami came back down 38-10.
Yes, I think it was. No, it was 35-17 or something.
Okay. Something like that. Miami had an insane comeback. I saw a video clip of a targeting that didn't get called targeting. That was probably one of the most clear targetings I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. The fact of the matter is they didn't call it on the field. They did the booth review upstairs who called it in, and then they were like, yeah, no targeting.
I've never seen a booth initiated review not be
a targeting. It was legit the definition of targeting.
Yeah.
The definition.
Like crown of the helmet.
Brain cells fly out of the back of his helmet.
Yes.
Yep. All right. And now the 2 big upsets of the day.
Okay.
Arkansas beats Tennessee 19-14 and what was, Nico played one of the worst games I've ever seen of my life.
This game, it was just difference of styles. I told my parents, when they were getting ready to watch the game, I was like, I have Jaquindon Jackson and Taylor Green on one of my fantasy teams. I'll tell you right now, their rushing attack is great. They're going to try to shorten this game up, short fields, make it ugly. Their defense is good. So it's like, hey, if they get a score or two, we'll see what happens. I didn't expect it to be freaking 14-13, whatever the game ended up being.
Yeah.
But Nico doing the Joe Milton at the end of the game, I'm not fully out on him, but oh boy.
So I can tell you this was at the bar going on within a 10-minute span. There was 3 TVs on. one had Tennessee, Arkansas, one had Michigan, Washington, and one had USC, Minnesota. And all three ended up in being like pretty much an upset. I mean, I know Michigan wasn't or they were the underdog, but it just felt like it was going to be, should have been an upset.
Yeah.
But it was like all within like 10 minutes this happened. And here's the thing. This just literally almost felt like it crept up on Tennessee. It's like Tennessee's got a hold of this game. They're going to like, they're looking sloppy, but it's 14-3. And it's like, okay, like they're going to cruise. And then Arkansas goes on this drive and makes it 14-10. It's like, you still didn't feel real confident that Arkansas was going to do anything
with their backup quarterback in.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And then Tennessee punts the ball away and Arkansas gets the ball at midfield after, in my opinion, what was like kind of, I mean, it was a really bad punt. Yeah. What was it, like 35-yard punt maybe?
Yeah, it couldn't have been much.
I don't know, but it gave Arkansas the ball at the 41, and then the very next play, they're like, okay, they're on Tennessee's side of the field, and then it's a 20-yard gainer, and then it's a 10-yard gainer, and then another 10-yard gainer. It's like it's 1st and goal at the 3, and it's like, oh boy, here we go, Arkansas. And
the fact of this game though was after the Alabama game is even more insane because they saw in pregame warmup that Alabama lost, and you're like, okay, look. If we win this game, we are in the driver's seat for the SEC championship game. I think that literally they would have clinched their own berth because Georgia lost, and everyone on their schedule they play still this year would have had a loss in the conference.
Yeah.
And they just gave it away.
Yep.
Speaking of that, probably the biggest upset. I mean, there's big upsets that always happen, like FCS and.
Nah, this is
probably one of the biggest upsets ever.
Yeah, not the biggest, obviously upset spread wise, but you just beat Georgia in a crazy game.
First off, you just beat Georgia. You're at Vandy, a literally 50-50 crowd, and actually Vandy fans actually kind of showed up.
Not 50, it was 70. It was like 70-30 Alabama fans,
at least
because
more.
They don't. Because they're still renovating the stadium,
Correct.
So they're only
you're right. There was only Vandy students basically there at this game.
There's only like 20,000 students. Like 20,000.
I was telling her I'd buy her ticket, go to the game.
So anyways, like this game happens, and let's just say major upset. Vandy was 0-66 before this against a top 5 team.
Yeah,
they hadn't beat Alabama since 1984, and the best quote of the night is Lane Kiffin interrupting the reporter going, hold on one second. I'm sorry. We got to take a pause. Like, this is never going to happen in our lifetime again. Yeah. Vandy's beating Alabama. And he's probably right. Like, unless Vandy gets like NIL to get some better players, they're never going to be that program that's going to be like, man, we're going to beat Bama 3 or 4 years in a row. Like,
I mean,
never going to happen.
Diego Pavetta or however your name say his name is. I watched his story on how he got here. He went to like a junior college, and then he went to like one school that offered him last minute, and now he's here. And it's
Mexico State. Don't forget the G5 Blake. He upset Auburn last year outright.
Yeah,
and he enrolled after JJ declared and Jim was gone. Oh fuck, wrong chat. Sorry, keep going.
But honestly,
I was told that no quarterbacks were available.
So first off. I mean, Alabama's kept themselves into this game. They were only down 1 score.
Correct.
And then Vanderbilt scored again. And I thought, like, right at the end of the 3rd quarter, and I'm like, okay, they're kind of pulling away. They're by like 9 or 10. And then Ryan Williams had an insane touchdown again.
Shocker.
Said like, hey, they were trying to sim through the game on 2K or on NCAA, trying to get a free win. And you're like, oh wait, never mind, we'll jump in. Let me just.
But then Vanderbilt came out, scored twice again, and they were up by 12. And at that point, like, Alabama was giving everything that they had. Ryan Williams scored 1 more touchdown, and then like it was like a cinematic moment where Vanderbilt needed 1 more first down, and they have this insane offense. It's almost like the Academy's offense where they're running the triple option, but they're also passing a lot out of it.
Okay,
so kind of like a higher advanced.
Can we talk about this play?
Yeah.
And I want to talk about Malachi Moore.
Yeah,
go for it.
Okay. That was one of the most disgusting things. What was that?
Someone's car.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was like,
Somebody's flying down the road. Sorry.
I just want to say that was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen on a football field.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that he did was grab Diego's face mask on the first down and slam his head into the ground.
Yeah.
And the officiating missed it. And then you get up and you kick the football. You throw your mouthpiece. You are a captain on this football team. Nick Saban would have taken a personal foul, ran out on the field and grabbed him by the face mask and said, "You're off my team." Like, tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, it's happened a lot on Saban teams before, things like this, but yeah.
Yeah, but this is bad. Here's the worst part. His
center and his quarterback got in a fight in the national championship game a few years ago.
Correct. But here's the thing. They also tried to sub him out, and he told them to get the hell away from me. You're not subbing me out, or F off, basically.
And that's the problem. This new era of football is if you tell him to F off and he subs, he enters the portal tomorrow.
Correct. Yeah. You're right. Now, here's the other thing. I didn't like this. It's a kneel down at the end of the game, and everyone on Vandy knew it was a kneel down. And they did a quick snap, and all the Bama defensive linemen dove at the legs of the Vandy players. You are told when you play football, it's going to be a kneel down, guys. Don't do anything unless the snap is fumbled. If it's a clean snap, don't do anything. It's on every level that this is told because you could injure the lineman. Yep. Sorry, Bama, Bush League, you lost and acted like it was the worst thing ever. And it was, I mean, for you guys as a program, it was, but the reaction that you guys had, talk about sore losers.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
sore loser mentality there.
They gotta figure it out. It's
crazy though. Like, this wasn't even like any type of upset. You look at the time of possession, I have the exact stats, 42 minutes to 17. Like, it was the perfectly executed offense. As funny as it sounds, obviously the team names are going to sound bad. This is like the 2021 Michigan-Ohio State game where it was just like, we're going to run the ball. We're going to take the ball and keep it.
They literally did what they wanted.
Stroud's hands. Do not let Stroud touch the ball at any means possible. Obviously here, don't let Stroud touch the ball.
I think you're seeing the first time we've seen that same defense that Saban brought is not there with DeBoer and his coaching staff.
Yeah.
So
it was really there last year too. I said, look, man, this is the thing with Saban, this revisionist history and the nasty narrative that I'm allowed to push right now. Saban had 0 national championships in NIL and in the era of the transfer portal. Like, think about how it used to be. It's to be like, oh, he's got Minka Fitzpatrick back there. Oh, he got hurt. Some guy's coming in. Oh, his name's Pat Surtain. Have he ever done anything?
Yeah.
Oh, Derrick Henry got hurt. Next guy comes in. Oh, Brian Robinson Jr. Oh, okay. Tua gets hurt. Tua comes in for this guy. I don't know, Jalen Hurts. So when you don't have 7 5-stars every position, I don't know. Things happen.
Yeah.
You get more games like this. As bad as college football is right now, you get more games like this.
And these are electric. These are what make the weekends. These are what make the weekends when you see a bad slate and you say, I mean, there shouldn't be that many great games, and we just watched one of the best weekends of college football in a long time.
My sister looks out her window and sees the uprights going down Broadway. She's like, what the hell is going on?
No, just don't let Morgan Wallen see the uprights because then he might throw off the roof. That was the one tweet. I was like, okay, whatever. We're going a little far. Come on. Love the guy, but
you might have to do a show at Vandy now.
Yeah, imagine.
Look, Vandy, good for them. This time last year, 2 years ago, Tennessee fans were doing a checker out in the opposing stadium. So I just want that. That's where we've gotten at least past that. But again, it was objectively hilarious. They zoom out and they show them rushing the field, and it's just all red.
True. I guess you're right. I guess it was that bad.
But, I don't know if you remember a few years ago. They won a game. I think they beat Florida, and they single filely came down and rushed the field. I mean, that was a big thing with like 4 or 5 years ago. So they made some steps, man. You know, Diego, good for Diego.
Yeah,
I'm sure
Diego was
funny.
He's looking for all the NILs, and he's probably going to get some great deals. So let's move on to this week. Kind of a interesting slate, pretty small slate. First, we'll touch on the other games, and then we'll go to Mr. Cozzi for the big one this week.
Yep.
Friday, Northwestern Maryland. Saturday, we start off with Washington, Iowa, and kind of
I mean, I'm taking Northwestern. I think
I'm also taking Northwestern. I like that.
Yeah.
How is Maryland favored by over two scores over anybody?
Yeah, how is Maryland 3-2? First
Some
off,
people that call themselves Big Ten experts have Maryland in the top half of their power rankings.
Yeah, I was so confused. Somebody had it in the power rankings at 7. I'm like, huh? What football are you watching?
I'm like, brother, they're 0-2 in the conference.
And does not anyone notice like their wins are against UConn, Virginia, and Villanova?
Yeah.
You know, if that was basketball, we're talking about a juggernaut, unfortunately.
Yeah, wrong sport. Saturday morning, we start off with Washington, Iowa.
Big noon. Yeah, big brand Washington storming the field like little brothers gets a 9 a.m. local kick.
Yeah, you know what?
Fellas.
I think that they struggle in this 9 a.m. kick. I really do. Iowa.
Every Caleb Johnson over. If Donovan Edwards can get pressed up front, Caleb Johnson's going to take them out back. Never mind.
The other noon game, Wisconsin travels to Rutgers.
Man, wait, did you just say Rutgers?
Rutgers.
I'm seeing the spread.
Yeah, it's 2.5 for Rutgers.
Yeah. What?
That makes no sense.
I'm taking Rutgers.
So Wisconsin's winning the game.
No, Rutgers is winning this game.
Yeah, but why is it only 2?
It should be. I think it's going to be.
That's what I'm saying. It should be like 10.
I know. Here's the thing. Everyone believes in Purdue. They believe in Purdue.
I'm interested to see the public numbers on this one. Actually, I might actually look it up right now because it might just be as simple as they looked really bad. Wisconsin just won by 100. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of Purdue, 3:30 FS1 Purdue takes on Illinois.
First off, FS1. Why did they claim this game?
Put it on like Peacock.
This should be.
Look at the other game is like. Obviously, this week you're gonna hide it here.
Yeah, this should be.
This is a noon standalone game.
They could have went to pick a Mountain West game, and I would have watched it over this one.
You can't have. Well, first of all, Colorado's already at night, and you can't have Iowa and Purdue and 2 separate games at noon. Come on,
people would fall asleep.
Hey, they should have just did it 7:00 Peacock.
Yeah. And the other 3:30 game, Penn State travels to Memorial Coliseum.
Okay. Look, I can't believe this is only a 4.5 point spread at the moment.
More money's on Wisconsin, by the way, right now. I'm just looking at it now. That's crazy.
You know, that's not going to happen. So I kind of like Rutgers.
Agree.
Penn State. Wow. Where do we begin?
Where are they? I don't know. Like I don't know what to.
I said this yesterday in the space. I don't know if one of you definitely heard it. Maybe it's not.
I was probably there at one point.
Is that you got to find out what type of opponent USC is, right? Because for me, it's either going to be Penn State versus Ohio State, or it's going to be Penn State versus Iowa / West Virginia / whatever. Where if it's a bad team, Franklin will make this his game, right? Yep. I kind of lean towards that. As bad as Penn State is, like Franklin's like, we just walked into a road playoff contending USC, which is a lie, and kicked our ass. Blah, 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 blah. You know, bald Franklin being like, we just love playing in LA with the Rose Bowl.
Did you hear about the traveling thing that he brought up?
What?
Apparently, like they couldn't fit the plane on their runway at Penn State, so they had to like bus all the players to bring enough travel staff to go to California. So they had to like travel on bus for like an hour and a half to the airport. Yeah, I was like, why is this big news?
But it's, like, no, I mean,
okay, I can't decide.
You look at this Michigan, the way they played against Michigan, USC, their O-line stinks. They have such an advantage on the trenches, Penn State, that you'd like to think they would fail upwards into a win here. But the fact,
can we talk about this? Just remember how USC looked against Wisconsin in the first half.
Yeah.
They're the worst first half team in the country.
Yeah.
They've been falling apart a lot.
I kind of feel like USC is just, I don't know. I
think this is a plug your nose and take USC spread game. I don't know, but
I don't know about that. I really think Penn State's going to go out there and just kind of hammer them home.
Lincoln could get fired this game, or it's James Franklin's on the hot seat. I think that's one of the two outcomes.
So I mean, both coaches, both fan bases, no pun intended with the USC Trojan, whatever here. Both fan bases are just they're fed up with their coach. And I actually know someone who had tickets to this game. He's trying to sell them. You can get into this game hosting the number 4 team in the country for $26 right now.
Yeah.
God, they should run some special through some airline and let them go right out the Coliseum.
Yes. I mean, there might be just as many Penn State fans as there's USC fans. I have a feeling that Penn State fans are going to actually travel out there.
Or that, yeah, I mean, it's California. There's a lot of Big Ten.
76 degrees and sunny. The weather's pretty fair, so I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of Big Ten alums in California, so it makes sense.
Yes, correct. And then we got the last game, Minnesota and UCLA.
Yeah.
Penn State has the worst quarterback. All right, keep going.
All right. Yeah, we got all those covered. Now we're going to probably the biggest Big Ten game of the entire season. And it's on a perfect week where there's not a ton of other games the Penn State game is probably the next best one, but other than that.
What?
There's not a ton of good games.
In the rest of the country? Yeah, there is.
No, in the Big Ten.
I was going to say, what?
No, there's a ton.
Okay.
Ohio State, the number 2 team in the country, travels to Eugene, college game day.
Zootin.
Zootin. 7:30 p.m. kickoff at Oregon. Cozzi, start us off, and then we'll.
So I can kind of tell you, talking with a few Oregon fans that I've heard talk in the spaces. I don't know how OSU fans are talking in spaces, but I was in a space last night with Oregon fans, and they're talking very spicy. Like, they think they're going to run us out of the building. They think that Will Howard is going to crack under the loud noise and pressure of Autzen Stadium, and Ohio State's never heard a crowd quite like Autzen Stadium.
Two separate things. Ohio State, yes. Will Howard, no. Keep going.
I don't know. Will Howard's had some decent environments that he's won at. Oklahoma's pretty loud. It is. And so is Texas. So.
That's fair. Yeah.
We're going to get down to it. Main matchups, key matchups here. Like I stated before, our O-line against their defensive front. I think their defensive front's pretty solid. If we can impose our will and run the ball like a Boise State did, then we're going to be just fine. If we struggle with the run early, I actually think we're still going to struggle in the first half. I think it's going to be 10-7 at halftime, Ohio State. I think second half, we get it rolling again. I think at some point in the fourth quarter, we're up 31-17. They score a late touchdown. We milk the clock for the last 2 to 3 minutes and win 31-24 out there. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's just 38-10 final or something like that. But I do think it's going to be somewhat close at certain points. But look, Jordan James, he is kind of all that's advertised.
Wrong. He sucks. Keep going.
You don't think he's that good?
No, I'll back it up later, but keep going.
Okay, well, I think he's pretty good. Now, granted, it was against Sparty. I agree, it was 166 yards, but he still put some pretty good games together. I mean, I think UCLA is a pretty good defense, and he still had a 100-yard rushing game. So, look, I think our defense, once again, hold Jordan James under 100 yards. Make Dylan Gabriel throw this football. You know who's really had kind of a down year for me as far as I would say Oregon goes, that I thought was going to come into his own and have just an outstanding season, was Tez Johnson. I thought Tez Johnson was going to be outstanding. Look, I get it. 395 yards so far. He's leading them in receiving. I'm not overly impressed. I thought he was going to be a lot better than this. That's just my opinion. But one thing that they do use is, and I'm really kind of worried about, is Terrence Ferguson. I want to see how we cover the tight ends, but I'm glad that Lachey had not a great day for Iowa, and Iowa utilizes the tight end. So we kind of got to look out. Like Oregon, they like to use Ferguson kind of like Iowa uses Luke Lachey. So it was kind of a good thing for us to see that this week. As far as everything else goes, like I'm not really worried about our defense. I'm just not. Dylan Gabriel has the problems with the picks, interceptions, things like that. So he has 3 interceptions on the season, but I'm pretty sure he has another red zone fumble too, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, that's kind of where I stand. 31-24 is my final prediction. Since you guys don't have a game, I mean, and this is probably our biggest Big Ten game of the season so far, have at it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You look at it from 2 different ways. It's like, which team has looked better so far through 5 weeks? And I would say Ohio State most definitely. Just overall body of work. I mean, it's against if you average it out, it's almost about the same opponents skill-wise. I mean, there's a couple interchangeable that you could critique, but I think that this is the type of game where I don't want to say like it's hard to not say this, but at the same time, I mean, both of these coaches, this is kind of a prove it game. You know what I mean? Because Ohio State has struggled in the last couple of years beating, top opponents, Michigan for one. Oregon lost to the rival so many times last year. So it's kind of like a prove it game for one of these coaches and see who really is going to be the top dog going into the second half of the season. I would say I think if I was to trust one quarterback in this game, it'd probably be Will Howard, just because he seems much more composed. His offensive line has been, top of the line. Everything that they wanted to say. Blake's going to critique it that the center sucks. His center's terrible, but honestly, he's been killing it all season. The tackles are, giving up like no pressures, and he has like unlimited time. But this is like a type of game where I don't know. I feel like the line really hasn't moved a whole lot, but this is the type of game where I feel like Ohio State's going to win by double digits. I just think that they just have too much talent throughout the entire team. Defensively, I think they're more talented. The only spot I would say it's pretty comparable is a couple secondary players, and their defensive lines are going to be comparable. And Cozzi hit it right on the spot. Trenches are going to be what wins Ohio State this game. They're going to contain the defensive line. And I think Ohio State wins by double digits. And really, I don't know if I even see this as much of a close game once the second half starts. I think Ohio State kind of gets in control in the third quarter and just takes over from there, what they've been doing pretty much most weeks.
And does Ohio State win by double digits?
No, they win by triple. No, I'm joking.
Against me later in the year.
Yeah, they might try to put up 100.
Listen, man, I already bet the over. All right. Jordan James. He's all right. Just they get not a ton of push up front. My thing is, he's only averaging 6.3 yards a carry, and against this schedule, you'd like to think that that's not the best. He was only averaging 5 a carry against UCLA, which is probably the only good defense they faced up to this point. And, he only get 100 yards on 20 carries. You're not running the ball 20 times against Ohio State. Okay. You're going to be probably behind most of the time. And the thing that Oregon lacks, Oregon used to have, is the explosive plays, the Chip Kelly. You would look up, you'd sit down and you'd look up and it's like score update 8-0 Oregon. You're like, it's been 2 minutes. What the hell happened? Michael James just cribbed one. I don't know. LeGarrette Blount broke one for 100 yards. They don't have that explosive play that they've had in a long time. Dylan Gabriel, will give you one, also take one back. I'll disagree a little bit on Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson's been fine. He's had over 80 yards in a touchdown in 3 out of the 5 games this year. The only issue for him is he's got no one with him. Evan Stewart, they had as one of the top transfer portal guys out of A&M. He's putting up a Samaj Morgan stat line: 16 catches for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns in 5 games. Like, dude, they brought you in for all that, but just I don't know. It's such a weird thing because everything points to Ohio State killing this team. People are probably just betting Oregon because they're like, Ohio State can't beat these top teams, can't beat these ranked opponents. They lose to Michigan in the SEC, and that's it. And they being Ryan Day. I did like the point you had there, Zach, that both teams can't beat a rival. Someone joked on Twitter they should call this a rivalry. to like give one of their coaches finally a monkey off their back. But I mean, I've said this before, this analogy calling Ohio State a bank. All right. If this is 2007, hopefully get 2008 soon. They're too big to fail, Ohio State, right? From my opinion, if you look at, I've said this 100 times, their number one problem is Ryan Day being an idiot, getting cute, and totally enforcing his will and losing games himself. He has a safety net, a guy named Chip Kelly. You don't think Chip Kelly is going to have a chip, yes, pun intended, on his shoulder to go out there and kill his team? I don't know how no one has said this yet. And I'm saying no one, just being like the national media. This is a Chip Kelly revenge game, dude. He did not like Oregon the way he had to leave that school, okay? Listen, I think it's just killing me because I know I'm smarter than this, but I don't see a world where Ohio State does not win this game comfortably and it by 2 scores. It might not be by 2 scores. It might remind me of that Penn State game last year where it looks bad on paper, but Ohio State was in such firm control the entire time that there was zero threat of them losing, right?
Yeah.
It might be one of those weird ones where the live spreads like 6.5, but it'll be like Ohio State money line minus 500 as opposed to like a normal live one where they do that sometimes. Where the live line, the money line is so different than what the spread should be. It should match up evenly there. I don't know. I do think Oregon scores first, so I'm excited to get a plus sign next to Ohio State and just put the net worth on it. Again, not a financial advisor, but there's just such an advantage for Ohio State every position. It drives me nuts. I was kind of needing, if I can't do it myself, I need someone to try to help me out for me. And it seems like I'm gonna have to wait until December or January for that to happen. Because Oregon's closer to me than Cozzi. That's all I can say.
I think there's a clear top team in the Big Ten. We'll find that out this weekend. I seriously do.
I mean, Happy Valley is also.
People in my chat called me an idiot for taking Ohio State like plus 200 in the Big Ten this season.
I mean, I'm just gonna say this: like that game in Happy Valley too kind of scares me.
Give me a break. They suck.
We're in the country.
So we can go kind of through the week.
We do have one other game. Minnesota UCLA.
We already talked about that.
Oh, we already very touched. It doesn't matter.
That tells you who cares?
Yeah, it's who cares. It's Minnesota's going to win.
A noon game. We got the USC versus Alabama.
We got the what?
USC versus Alabama.
The real USC.
Yeah. At noon, which is a good start.
Funnily enough, again, this is a tough one where I would have taken, if you had told me that they were going to lose one of these games, I would have said they'd lose this game. Yeah. But if we're doing the logic of the season on teams getting upset by teams they shouldn't have, and then playing some of the next week, i.e. Ole Miss killing South Carolina, Notre Dame killing Purdue. Unfortunately, it might be a backdoor Dominican-Cuban cockfighting ring, and there's just headless chickens running around everywhere. So
yeah, pretty much. Alabama's going to win.
Yeah,
it's a freaking elephant versus a little chicken. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Moving on, 3:30. We got the Red River, Texas, Oklahoma.
Hey, you pass up the big one. We got Mizzou hosting UMass. Or no, actually, they're going to UMass. They are going.
Why are they going to UMass? What?
No, yeah.
Hey, Tom Brown, Dr. Blitz, pin the ears back and get after Brady Cook.
So can we talk about this? Mizzou, an SEC team, is going to UMass and play.
See, it's smart of them to do this now with a really loaded slate to sneak their game in now instead of that bullshit before the last game of the year. You know what I'm talking about?
You know how much? Yep. You know how much it costs to get into this game?
$12, $13.
$12.
13's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Missouri. I mean they fell apart. Yeah. So then we got the Red River, Texas, Oklahoma. Texas is a 15-point favorite. Basically.
Also, by the way, to get in $12, that stadium only holds like 10,000 people.
Future Mactions team.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, future Mactions.
Okay, yeah, Texas and Oklahoma. Man, throw out the records. Doesn't matter. It's going to be high scoring. That's all I know. Take the over. Like, I'm legit being serious. I don't know who's going to win. I know it's a 14.5 point spread. Oklahoma is going to cover 14.5, and this is going to be an over.
I think they're going to score 70 points combined.
Easily.
I don't know why it's 50. I don't know why it's 50.
They always do. And at some point in this game, actually, you know what? I will be willing to bet that Oklahoma at some point in this game is up by 2 or 3 scores and Texas comes back and wins.
As someone that has watched Texas in person, I think this score finishes 35-10. It's going to be an under. Texas's defense is good. Oklahoma, they have this backup quarterback. He loves to turn the ball over.
No,
Oklahoma's got a pretty good defense, but
they're
Texas
they're gonna figure it out.
They've got tape now on this kid. He's starting to get cocky. He took Jackson. He's in a new commercial. He took Jackson Arnold's spot on the commercial too, which is crazy.
By the way,
has reached out to Michigan, so Jackson Arnold's great back.
Is Quinn back? That's all I need to know.
Yeah, he's supposed to be.
I'm just telling you right now. I mean, even if he isn't back, like I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. It's always a shootout.
A few years ago, it was 49-0. I could see the same thing happen this year. Texas is going to absolutely murder this team. Oklahoma's got a really good defense, 0 offense. This kid he's like Aiden Childs, but more turnover prone. I've never seen it before. Like he like dribbles the basketball. Every once in a while, it'll like dribble, it'll like fumble a little bit and it bounces back to him. It's crazy.
You mean to tell me he's worse than Skyline?
Yes.
We're not talking about Skyline Chili, okay? That's an Ohio thing. Keep that in Cincinnati.
No, it's 8 Chili's.
3:30. We've got. I was trying to think of the meme here. We have Pittsburgh.
I was gonna say that was the next game I'm looking at.
Steel versus free meal. And STEL. I don't know. I was thinking about it for a bit. I couldn't find something good.
So can we
talk about quarterback Eli Holstein? Very good.
Eli Holstein, very, very good.
Future quarterback, very good.
Pitt, by the way, maybe the worst 5-0 team ever. No.
They're fun. They're very fun. Very good. Very fun. Look
at
the analytics. They are better than Illinois and than Indiana on analytics. And to me, they're the same type of team. They should play in a bowl game. That should be a really good bowl game. But Eli Holstein just got followed back by Dave Portnoy.
We gotta. Now we're moving on to the next game.
We're moving on next game.
To America's team of last year versus America's team of this year.
I'm gonna buy.
Yeah. Arizona and BYU, baby. Let's go.
Arizona, BYU, 4-point spread. That's interesting. Arizona sucks this year.
Huge win last. No, they lost. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say,
they didn't score a single touchdown. They lost 28-22. They didn't score a single touchdown.
Look, it's weird. It's kind of like Alabama. They're on track, dude. They lost the game they should have won. They won the game they should have lost. I mean, beating Utah on the road is huge.
Yeah, and now they go on the road at BYU.
Wide open.
Yeah.
Wide open, baby.
Next game, Florida, Tennessee. It all depends on how Tennessee plays and if Florida plays.
It's a bad day to be Florida. This is going to be such a flex spot for Tennessee when you can beat your rival. It's funny if you look at the. It's almost like Michigan, Ohio State levels of dominance in this rivalry, where it's like, I think legit Tennessee's beaten them like 6 times since 2000. It's bad. And
it's worse than that.
Exactly. You have like the worst Florida team in a long time.
I'm pretty positive if you go back to like the mid 80s, I'm pretty sure Tennessee's only beaten them like maybe 9 times. There was a stretch. I mean, Manning literally didn't beat them.
Spurrier used to beat them manually.
Like Manning didn't beat them once. So
exactly. Like, trust me, this is a murder show spot.
This is going to be where the Vols impose their will and want to beat them by 50. Yeah. And they might do it. They might. Well, who knows? If Deco has another bad game, who knows?
So the good news is Florida doesn't have a good enough offense to slow the clock and everything. They got to throw it and stuff. Montrell Johnson's not that guy.
Yeah. The nightcap for the SEC. Ole Miss takes on LSU.
This is such a tough spot for Ole Miss.
It is because
in Baton Rouge, and I just literally think that Ole Miss is better, but it's a night game in Baton Rouge.
LSU's not good at football.
They're not good. They're terrible, but it's a night game at Baton Rouge, and they are going to be so fired up.
There is a lot of road,
and this is
coming up here.
Major rivalry game. This
game last year was probably the best game I've seen in a long time. Wasn't like it was the 70-60.
Yep.
So
LSU has no business in this game other than it being a night game.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's going to hold them in this. I really think Ole Miss is probably going to win, but because LSU is just not good. LSU
at noon. It's a 2-touchdown win by Ole Miss.
But. Yeah, oh, absolutely. But it's at night in Baton Rouge, and that's like big tradition there, and it's loud. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be close, though. It's going to be close. I still think Ole Miss pulls it out.
Yeah, and then we got 2 more games for the nightcap. 10:15, Kansas State travels to Colorado.
You jumped over one game. Just quickly.
Iowa State, West Virginia.
West Virginia sneakies figured something here. I don't know, man. The spread's only 3 tells you all you need to know, but
and it's at 8:00 in West
see
Virginia.
Matt Campbell back in the playoff after Michigan fans wanting him. Mostly Wolverine corner. Shut up, my guy.
By the way, while we're touching quickly on West Virginia, Kansas has fallen off the map.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're like 1-4.
Yeah, they lost their offensive coordinator. He was their whole team.
Yeah. But yeah, Kansas State travels to Colorado.
And leads into another Big Ten. Yeah. Colorado, bro. This game's going to rock.
Yeah.
I said I sneaky think this is the game of the week because I think Ohio State and Ole Miss blow them out. I think this could be the game where it's like, oof. Unfortunately, with the London kickoff the next day, it's going to be a tough turnaround. But hey, we'll do it for the people.
Yeah. And you think that's late. We got one last game of the night at 11 p.m. in Honolulu, Hawaii at the Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex.
Okay.
And it is the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors taking on the number 1 player in college football right now, Ashton Genty and the Boise State Broncos.
I would love to just be like, hey, by the way, Boise State's going to win this in a blowout. But after last week, going out to Hawaii, I don't know. I'm undecided. I'm undecided.
Or every time they touch the ball.
I think
they probably will. They probably will, but Hawaii is probably going to put up points too.
Over my head at the half.
Oh yeah, the over is way too low for this. The over is at 60.5.
But what do you guys think? Can we go back a game though? The Kansas State, Colorado. What are you thinking here? I've watched a lot of both teams. This Colorado team is kind of living up to the hype.
I always pick against Colorado.
Home dog.
I know.
Can't really stop the run, but that's what everyone said they couldn't do against UCF, and they stopped the run.
Yeah, they did.
Here's what's going to happen.
O-line is blocked 2 games in a row.
I mean, the Big 12 is nuts and crazy because you have Texas Tech right now sitting atop the conference at 3-0.
Yeah.
Now,
the SEC's crazy. You have Texas A&M up top, the SEC right now.
Now, granted, the 3 games that Texas Tech has won has been Arizona State, Cincinnati, and Arizona.
They were a dog to Zona.
Yeah,
look, man.
I don't know. I don't know what to think about this Kansas State team because I thought they were on their way to just be rolling through the Big 12 after they went and just rolled Arizona. I thought, man, they're going to roll right through. And then they didn't. And now it's like, well, shit. Yeah. So I don't know what to make of Kansas State. I really don't. And you know what? Here's the thing. It's also on the road again. Maybe they're not good on the road because they went to Tulane and struggled on the road.
Kansas State, they can't throw the ball. They rely on the run game too much.
Yeah.
If you're throwing the ball at Travis, God bless you. I know their backup running back to Giddens was on Colorado last year, little Dylan Edwards or some little kid. But the jump, I mean, this is no one else to say other than Prime has done an incredible job. The jump that they've had since that Colorado game or that Nebraska game where I thought we could have this whole team portal out by week 4.
Yep.
They've really had a major turnaround. And if they win this game, Colorado's going to have a number next to their name and they're going to be in playoff discussions.
Oh, just because they're Colorado.
No, but I mean, the Big 12 is bad. Being 3 on the Big 12, it's going to be.
I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest here. We thought they were going to go down to Central Florida and just get absolutely waxed.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they killed them.
And
Kansas State's like a bit better of a version of UCF.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Here's my take.
I might want to take Colorado with the points. Honestly, I think it might be a close game.
Yeah, I mean, Shadur is going to throw it everywhere and anywhere he wants.
Always.
But Avery Johnson, 2 rushing touchdowns. I think he's going to be the only hope that they have. That's it.
Okay.
He's their only hope. He passes the ball pretty well. He also runs the ball pretty efficiently. He has 2 on the year.
Very well.
But yeah, I mean, they could read option the hell out of Colorado, and Colorado couldn't stop them if they wanted to. But when you do that, you're running down the clock, and Colorado can just score in 3 plays. Just how it is. And can Kansas State's defense stop Colorado enough times? I don't see it. I think Colorado actually just wins outright. I think we're at that point in the year where everybody asks, is Colorado legit? And they have been proving week after week after week that they just won't lose. I mean, other than the dumb loss in Nebraska, which honestly, if you look back at that game, they realistically should have won it. I mean, like, they got blown out kind of, but at the same time, like, that's the type of game where it's just a rivalry game. Sometimes you lose games you should win, and that's just one of them. I mean, but they are proving that they are actually legit, and that the hype is not just fake anymore.
Yeah.
4-1 with UCF, Baylor, and a powerhouse in North Dakota State so far. I mean,
okay, let's chill out on the powerhouse.
Hey,
and yeah, last little shout out before we
FCF
end
powerhouse.
Friday night, Utah, Arizona State, 2 of the best running backs in the Big 12. Scadaboo is awesome. You should watch. Very fun.
Utah's going to win that.
Probably.
Just to catch up real quick, hockey's back.
Yep.
We start off 2-0.
Started yet?
We start off 2-0. Blake's team started off 1-1. I don't know about Cozzi's team.
I lost to a fake school.
That's not a fake school. That's not a fake school.
And basketball is starting soon, so yeah. We're back. We're kicking.
Oops. Yes.
Oops. Yes. Oops.
Yes. Hoops is starting.
It'll be fun. It will actually be fun. Hoops is going to be fun.
But no, we did win a exhibition game against was it Niagara? I saw.
Oh,
I think it's Niagara.
An actual.
No, it did not count as our record. No, so we are 0-0 technically.
Let me see.
But we do play. We do play this week.
Oh yeah, they play the American.
Yes.
And we have a big matchup, top 4 matchup. Michigan State being number 4, host number 2 Boston College this weekend. So it should be interesting to see.
Revenge for football.
Revenge for football and hockey last year when we got swept because they're very good. Somehow I can get in the door for $40, so I think I'm going to go. It's pretty cheap. I mean,
yeah.
Usually they're about 100. So,
but yeah, I think it's all we have. Back to our usual hour or so length here. But that's all we got. By the time you'll see this, we'll be facing the Royals.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I want the Yankees.
I want either team. I just want to make it.
But yeah, as a wise man once said, "Go Tigers!
Go Tigers!"
See you guys.
Go Guards! Go Bucks!